you guys responded, and I heard you all. It seems that you enjoyed the top 10 satisfying moments video that I rolled out not so long ago, so I think it's about time for Volume 2. We'll have another banger of a list today, so you better get ready. But before we get going, I'd like to start off by encouraging you to subscribe. I still see that a number of viewers aren't subscribed to ViniiTube, so if you are one of those people, please click that subscribe button up there so you can get updated with more content like this next time. I don't want to keep you waiting anymore, so let's begin the show. We start with the moment when Ainz kills Clementine.
何もしない。死ね！
There's not a lot to like about Clementine, honestly speaking. She's a giggling psychopath out for blood, and she's racked up quite the body count in the series. Acts crazy and filled with bloodlust, she's also the type to adorn herself with the armor of various adventurers that have fallen victim to her. Unfortunately though, all that would come to an end as she finds herself facing off against Ainz. She may be a seasoned fighter who even got the jump on Ainz at the start, but all that is moot when facing against such an overpowered force like Ainz. In the end, she finally meets her end in one of the most excruciating moments the series has to offer. It's what they call a cruel and unusual death, but all in all, it does make sense considering the characters involved. Judgment has come for Clementine, and it ain't pretty. Being slowly crushed by the arms of Ainz is quite the brutal way to go, but after all she did, I'd say it's one of the most gratifying things for the viewers to see her succumb to her fate. I'd say that she earned every bit of it, no matter how brutal it may look. Before we move on to the rest of the list, let me introduce today's sponsor, The Walking Dead Survivors. First off, what is The Walking Dead Survivors? The Walking Dead Survivors is the official mobile game of the comic series of The Walking Dead. Elex takes us on an exhilarating and interactive ride through the comic IP. The game story follows the comic storyline, and players get to play as survivors in a bid to hold the fort against hordes of invading zombies. Your main goal is to build and fortify your base in order to repel the incoming zombie attackers. Besides buildings, you can also recruit people and construct your ultimate army to create the ultimate line of defense. Beware though, as zombies aren't the only threat. Other players are as well, so make sure to head out and join the party as early as possible. That one head start does matter. If you're interested in The Walking Dead and want to find a way to relive the comics, don't forget to follow the official social media for the game. You can get the latest updates from the official YouTube, Twitter and Instagram for the game, so head on down and check the video links in the description. While you're at it, why don't you also click the link to download The Walking Dead Survivors. Doing so will provide you with an invaluable head start against fellow players and possible competition. Download now and join the fun. Now, back to the video. Time to praise the sun again, because Escanor's flex versus Estarossa is next on the list. Escanor has had a lot of showcases of power, and for me, one of my favourite of these such moments came at the expense of Estarossa. With the invasion of Lyonesse being well underway, Estarossa gets singled out as the strongest of the 10 commandments. It's a face-off between the two strongest combatants in the two fighting forces. And guess what? It's a squash, a blowout, a stomp, whatever you want to call it. Granted, Estarossa does get some offense in, seemingly devises a way to out Escanor's source of power and gets his brief moment of gloating. However, we all know how the story ends in fights like this, especially going up against someone as crazy as Escanor. Escanor just powers through everything, and the moment his sun breaks through all the darkness that the enemy can muster, it's all over. An arrogant villain getting his in such a decisive way will never stop being satisfying. In one of the actions that can be considered a bit more of a grey area, we have Askeladd killing King Sweyn.
このブリタニアの地を滑るべき正統の王である。ウルトラ！
In one of the acts that helped establish what a charismatic and interesting character Askeladd is, he makes the ultimate decision to murder King Sweyn. It's quite a morally grey action and all, but as we all know, this ain't just your shonen fare. This is Vinland Saga. To be fair to Askeladd, King Sweyn isn't exactly a saint. In fact, what led to the moment is his ultimatum to Askeladd to pick between Wales of Prince Canute. Knowing Askeladd's weakness, the king tried to use Wales as a way to exploit him, but it ends up biting the king as he gets felled thanks to the wrong decision. Of course, this event then leads to a chain of events that I could spend time talking about in another video, but for now, this moment of decisive action ranks as one of the most satisfying moments in anime. Next up is Ash winning the Pokémon League.
おめでとうサダシ君。
ありがとうございますピカチュウ。ほらわかんないよな。そりゃそうだ。
Would I be making a wrong bet to say that a sizable part of the audience here wouldn't have been around when Pokemania took over the world? That was the late 90s, and along with the massive boom of Pokemon came the anime's first season, and the main character never changed. And he never won any Pokemon League. You heard that right. For approximately 2 decades, Ash never won a Pokemon League. Ever in all of those seasons of Pokemon. At times the losses were clean, but at times it seemed that the writers just pulled some random BS to keep him from winning. The worst one in that season where the writers just threw a random guy coming out of nowhere packing legendaries at him, or his Grey Ninja losing despite having type advantage. However, all memes have to die someday, so Ash finally won a Pokemon League as the Sun and Moon season came around. Probably not the most decisive or hyped win, because pretty much everyone agrees that he should have won the previous season with his really cool Grey Ninja, but it's still there. It's still satisfying for 90s kids to see a part of their childhood come to a close, and while the moment was a season too late, it still remains quite a cathartic moment for some. Let's welcome Hellsing to the list now with the Seras and Zorin Blitz battle. Zorin Blitz didn't think too highly of Seras' Victoria. Even after the Major's warnings, Seras never became more than a blip in Zorin's radar. However, things would take a big change once Zorin's Zeppelin got shot down, and then it's time for the serious battle. Zorin, in a surge of sadism, manages to push Seras as far as she possibly can. Taking some of Seras' body parts out of the picture isn't enough, and the revenge-filled Zorin continues her assault, culminating in the killing of Pip, which proved to be the breaking point. Seras drinks his blood and unloads on Zorin, finally awakening to her full vampire powers. Zorin is no match. It's always satisfying to see cocky, sadistic characters push someone far enough only to get destroyed in return. It's a common trope in anime, but the sheer graphicness of Hellsing makes this as one of the moments that stand out in particular. Bleach makes its return for Volume 2 of the list, and we now take a look at the Ulquiorra fight. Ichigo's decisive battle against Ulquiorra took place somewhere towards the end of the Hueco Mundo arc. It's the protagonist's last test before moving on to the fake Karakura town and beginning the long confrontation with Aizen. Then he got destroyed. Hard. Hollow mask and all, Ichigo just isn't a match for Ulquiorra, who pretty much kills him by shooting through his chest in front of Orihime. However, being on the brink of death just seemed to bring out an inner beast in Ichigo, and he comes back in a new hollow form that just beats down Ulquiorra in one of the most satisfying counter squashes in Bleach, paying a curb stomp back with another one of his own in a chilling display. Whether this sudden power-up was a good decision writing-wise has been debated for quite some time already. However, as far as adrenaline, hype, and satisfaction goes, this moment is just lit. We have a Fate moment joining the list now, this time from Unlimited Blade Works. Among the mainline Fate characters, few can match Gilgamesh in terms of haughtiness and sheer arrogance for a good reason. You're looking at the king of heroes, arguably the most powerful servant in the war, and owner of countless noble phantasms. Just watch Fate Zero if you're still in doubt of his power, which makes it all the more satisfying to see him being brought down against not Saber, a long-time rival from the previous war, but by her new master, the humble and idealistic Shirou. Yes, it's Shirou who found a way to match the Gate of Babylon, best Gilgamesh in close combat, and force him to unsheath Ea. So much for the faker label, huh? Shirou finally proves his worth as a hero and protector of justice. Who knew that the strongest servant in the war would find his match in a mere human being? He's no legendary hero, but the whole journey of rediscovery that he went through in Unlimited Blade Works allowed Shirou to get the prowess and the will to defeat Gilgamesh and humble him down. How about going back to a classic for the next entry? Gohan going Super Saiyan 2 for the first time will always be a part of my childhood, and it's really a goosebump-raising moment of a good guy finally having seen enough. Due to Cell killing Android 16 and the Cell Juniors running amok against the Z Fighters, Gohan finally breaks his limits and taps into the next evolution of his power, becoming Super Saiyan 2. I don't know what's more satisfying, the transformation sequence or the destruction that he hands the Cell Juniors right after the transformation. Whatever it is, this will always be a moment that OG Dragon Ball fans would remember and savor. He then gets ready to face Cell himself and would end up being the one to close the book on the saga with a victory, eventually, after months in real time. Yep, the meme about Dragon Ball fights being almost an hour long is legit. Whitebeard's Silent Rage earns him second place on this list. Rage comes in many forms. Personally, I feel that the Silent Fury type is the one that evokes the strongest emotions, especially coming from someone as badass as Whitebeard. It comes with a look that makes you want to turn tail and run, as Akainu would soon learn. Akainu might think of himself as a hotshot, but coming face to face with Whitebeard? Ha! The looming doom shown in the shot of Whitebeard towering over him just paints an excellent picture of how screwed he is in that moment. Just check out Whitebeard simply tanking Akainu's amazing looking shots, and we can tell how far apart the two are in terms of strength. Is this opening punch one of the most satisfying punches in anime history? Some people certainly think so, and if you're one of those, tell me on the comment section below. Just how badass can this man be? We finish off the list with the legendary 7-page Muda from JoJo Golden Wind. One of the most satisfying moments in Golden Wind comes in the form of Cioccolata's demise. In his last pathetic attempt at resistance, he claims victory as he tries to hold Mr. hostage. Unfortunately, the trap's been set, and the villain finds his brains blown out with Gold Experience's ability. Then comes the big one. Getting told by Giorno to know his place isn't satisfying enough, and it leads to this golden, no pun intended there, moment where Cioccolata throws himself towards Giorno as a last resort. However, it leads to Gold Experience's barrage. Giorno finishing off Cioccolata in one of the most iconic scenes is truly a sight to behold. It's a complete destruction that's been immortalized in 7 pages in the manga. Seeing the barrage of attacks in anime form is just super satisfying. It takes a special effort from the sound direction team to give this scene justice, but man, they did it. So how does this list look to you? Do you think that is better than the first one? If you haven't watched that, I'll be leaving a link so that you can go and check it out yourself. Find your most gratifying moment between the two lists and share your thoughts on the comment section. If you had fun with the content, don't forget to subscribe. You might also want to support the channel through 2 avenues. You can either become a member or help me through Patreon. Don't forget to check out our sponsors game, The Walking Dead Survivors. Links in the description. That'll be it for this list. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll be seeing you next time. Stay awesome, everyone. Till next time.